What's up, everybody? It's Kale, Malik, whatever you want to call me. We're back again. We're trying some new stuff now, you know what I'm saying? We're slowly getting the hang of it, you know what I mean? So today we're going to be back with our Sunday Bible service series, you know? It's going to be episode 3 or part 3, whatever you want to call it. I'm really only putting the names and the episodes in there because it makes it easier chronologically for somebody to just follow along if they want to study the Bible. But, you know, let's be honest. The Bible is just an amazing story, so it kind of doesn't really need parts to it. The sacred parts in the episodes that are just found in the book themselves are already amazing enough. But it's just to make it more simple for somebody who wants to be able to follow along. So yeah, last time we kind of left off after the flood, you know what I'm saying, and we kind of followed the story of after the flood and Noah and his sons, and then the cursing of his son Canaan, or his son Ham, Ham's son was Canaan, and the cursing of Canaan specifically, which then eventually led through the lineage to us discovering Abram, who would then go on to become Abraham with his wife Sarai, who then becomes renamed to Sarah. So right now we are currently at the part where Abraham meets with God, and then they start to kind of go over to analyze what in particular was going on. You know what I'm saying? And before they pass judgment on Sodom and Gomorrah, which the Bible described as a wicked place, where there's just evil continuously. So, get your Bible if you want to follow along, or just look up an online Bible for free. And kind of, you can look up thousands of those. We're going to be reading in the KJV version. That's kind of what kind of Bible I have here. It is a KJV. So if you want to be able to read along accurately, at least in alignment with what I'm reading, then you should get a KJV version, not an NIV, not an NKJV, a KJV. Although I'm sure NKJV and those other ones you can still follow along somewhat, but it's just a different book, So, yeah. But let's go ahead and find where we were. Language of the world. I think we're a little bit past this. God encourages Abram. Okay, yeah, here we are. So we're currently Genesis 18, verse 23. That's going to be where we are. So this is Abraham intercedes for the people of Sodom. So last time I kind of got cut off, so I didn't get a chance to read this. So verse 23, and Abraham drew near and said, wilt thou also destroy the righteous with the wicked? Peradventure there be 50 righteous within the city. Wilt thou also destroy and not spare the place for the 50 righteous that are therein? That be far from thee to do after this manner, to slay the righteous with the wicked, and that the righteous should be as the wicked. That be far from thee. Shall not the judge of all the earth do right? And the Lord said, if I find in Sodom 50 righteous within the city, then I will spare all the place for their sakes. And Abraham answered and said, behold, now I have taken upon me to speak unto the Lord, which am but dust and ashes. Peradventure there shall lack 5 of the 50 righteous. Wilt thou destroy all the city for lack of 5? So basically saying instead of 50, if it's 45. And then he basically responded, and he said, if I find there are 40 and 5, I will destroy it. This is verse 29 of Genesis 18. And he spake unto him yet again, and said, peradventure there shall be 40 found there. And he said, I will not do it for 40's sake. And he said unto him, oh, let not the Lord be angry, and I will speak. Peradventure there shall 30 be found there. And he said, I will not do it if I find 30 there. And he said, behold, now I have taken upon me to speak upon the Lord. Peradventure there shall be 20 found there. And he said, I will not destroy it for 20's sake. And he said, oh, let not the Lord be angry, and I will speak yet but this once. Peradventure 10 shall be found there. And he said, I will not destroy it for 10's sake. And the Lord went his way as soon as he had left communing with Abraham, and Abraham returned unto his place. So off rip, that's just a great example of God's character right there, right? So God, within that small bit of right there, that chapter, or I don't even say chapter, but those collection of verses, God showed characteristics of patience. He showed characteristics of kindness, mercy, justness, righteousness. You know what I'm saying? Just through that small conversation, he didn't, even though he could have, he didn't get mad at Abraham for inquiring about the righteous. He put that time in and was like, you know what? It's okay. I'll answer each one of your questions, even if it's redundant. You know what I'm saying? And that takes a level of patience that very few people have. And honestly, even the level of patience that this displays, I suspect it's a level of patience that only the Lord has, you know? So, you're already getting kind of clues and context clues of his character right here, who he really is as our Father. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's just somebody who's kind and just. He was furious with Sodom and Gomorrah. He was like, I'm going to destroy this city. These people are wicked here. They're doing stuff way against what I said. You know what I'm saying? And bringing wickedness upon everything. And just because Abraham inquired, like, hey, if there's some good people here, can you, like, help them? And he's like, yeah, if there's anybody in this city who's good, I'm going to spare the whole city, because it's the good people are worth it that much to God, you know? Now, I feel like he still would have found a clever way to get, you know, everybody else to see what he needed to be seen done. But, you know, that's one of the, you know, and this is me getting a little personal about it for a bit. That's, you know, just throughout this book, that's so many of the ways that you can see God's character, and you can really learn who God is. And that, like, it isn't just reading the stories, it's knowing who God is. Like, really knowing, like, you know, just like with your own dad, right, in real life, you know the traits of your dad. You know what I'm saying? You know if your dad gets mad over something, or he gets sad over something, or he acts like this, acts like that. God wants the same thing for his children. He wants you to connect with him so he can connect with you. So it's about knowing God, his character, and seeing what kind of, just like, almost just like how humans have patterns, God has patterns too, in a certain way. Even though he's so multifaceted, he'll do it in so many millions of different ways, and that's the beauty of God. He's just more efficient than us. But you know, he has certain patterns of character that kind of showcase throughout the Bible, even within the first book of Genesis. Like, just these different stories recurringly of him fighting and you know, championing the righteous and championing people who are doing good, and then really only destroying people who are truly wicked. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's why people are like, how could he do that in Noah's flood? He did it because these people was more than likely wicked, probably deep, way more wicked than they even are telling us in the book. You know what I'm saying? Like, they probably left a lot of details out for God to be feel that drawn to, like, I have to wipe everybody off the planet. It meant that there was literally only darkness. You know what I'm saying? I think that people underestimate what that meant for God to move so drastically, you know? So now we're at chapter 19. Lot entertains two angels. So if you guys don't know or don't remember, Lot is Abraham's oldest brother's son. And I believe he was the firstborn. And then his oldest brother passed away. And Abraham couldn't have kids. So because he couldn't have kids, basically what he did was because he couldn't have kids, he basically was granted for Lot to kind of move with him, and like they kind of did a lot together until they raised up together. So this is chapter 19. And there came two angels to Sodom at even, and Lot sat in the gate of Sodom, and Lot, seeing them, rose up to meet them, and he bowed himself with his face toward the ground. This is verse 2. And he said, behold now, my lords, turn in, I pray you, into your servant's house, and tarry all night. Tarry just means to, like, wait. You know what I'm saying? Or stay. And tarry all night, and wash your feet, and ye shall rise up early and go on your ways. And they said, nay, but we will abide in the street all night. So keeping in mind, it's talking about these, seeing these men, sometimes whenever God pops up in the book, it'll sometimes say it's men, or it'll say that it's these two men rose, when it's really talking about angels and God manifesting on his plane. But yeah, ye shall rise up early and go on your ways. And they said, nay, but we will abide in the street all night. This is them meeting Lot in the middle of Sodom. He lived in Sodom in the middle of all this wickedness. But he was pure he was purer than the people there. So they came to visit him, because turned out there was nobody in the city except Lot that was moving the right way. You know what I'm saying? And he pressed upon them greatly, and they turned in unto him and entered into his house, and he made them a feast and did bake unleavened bread, and they did eat. So clearly he's moving the way that he needed to be moving. So, you know, he paid them respect, and he paid with unleavened bread. You know what I'm saying? He made sure he gave the proper offerings that God told his people to give. You know what I'm saying? So he's moving correctly. The vicious Sodomites are stricken with blindness. This just shows a bit of the power of God. So this is verse 4. But before they lay down, the men of the city, even the men of Sodom, compassed the house around, both old and young, all the people from every quarter. And they called unto Lot and said unto him, Where are the men which came into thee this night? Bring them out unto us, that we may know them. And Lot went out at the door unto them, and shut the door after him, and said, I pray you, brethren, do not so wickedly. Behold now, I have 2 daughters which have not known man. Let me, I pray you, bring them out unto you, and do ye to them as is good in your eyes. Only unto these men do nothing, for therefore came they under the shadow of my roof. And they said, Stand back. And they said again, This one fellow came into sojourn, and he will needs be a judge. Now we will deal worse with thee than with them. And they pressed sore upon the man, even Lot, and came near to break the door. But the men put forth their hand and pulled Lot into the house to them, and shut to the door. And they smote the men that were at the door of the house with blindness, both small and great, so that they wearied themselves to find the door. So just to break down what that means. So in the Bible, they don't really say directly have sex with people. So they will say stuff like come on to them, or come on to thee, or like went on to thee. So essentially, just to break down what happened, Sodom had got so just kind of wicked in their ways, how they was moving, that they were just basically like having free sex in the streets. Like, and that's kind of what they were talking about. All the men, it's because here it says basically, where is it? Where are the men which came there? Lot, compass the house around. Or here we go. It says, compass the house around, both old and young, all the people from every quarter. So that means all the men, both the youngest men, the kids, the oldest men, the grown-ups, they all was behaving in this. It's basically saying everybody, all the men of Sodom was moving like this. And they're basically saying, like, bring these 2 people. We don't know who these people are. So bring these people out here so we can know them. You know what I'm saying? And they're literally saying, bring these people outside because we need to, like, you know, they trying to have sex with these people. Like, so they was kind of getting real interested in Sodom. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's basically what led to that. You know what I'm saying? Led to kind of these things going on, is that, you know, they were moving outside of what the Most High told them to move. You know what I'm saying? They were doing all kinds of different stuff, and you know, so he basically incurred wrath on them and destroyed them. So Lot is sent to the mountains for safety. This is right after verse 12, Genesis 19. And the men said unto Lot, Hast thou here any besides? And also, by the way, before I get more into this, the fact that Lot offered his 2 virgin daughters to the townspeople, and they said, No, we don't want the daughters, we want the 2 men. Just let that sink in for a second. He was like, yo, take these 2 women, my 2 daughters who were coming of age, you can take them. And they're like, nah, we don't want the 2 daughters. We want the 2 men. Bring them out here now, or we're going to break your door down. That's crazy. All right, anyways, getting back to it. And the men said unto Lot, Hast thou here any besides son-in-law, and thy sons and thy daughters, and whatsoever thou hast in the city, bring them out of this place. For we will destroy this place, because the cry of them is waxing great before the face of the Lord. Remember I said that last time, that whenever there's great sin in a place, or murder or anything, all those things kind of cry out as your soul crying out to the Lord, and the Lord can hear that. He can hear when your soul's crying out. That's why he draws nearer to those who are genuinely in distress and are like, don't know what to do. He brings closer to you because your soul will cry out to the Lord. You know what I'm saying? You might not hear it. It ain't going to manifest as a physical cry, but he hears it. You know what I'm saying? He hears when you're struggling. And all these people who, you know, they even if they moving wickedly and they so like caught in their own wickedness, he's still going to hear that. He going to hear what their spirit is actually saying, like, oh no, this flesh is in wickedness and I can't break free of it, but this is what I want to do. And God will hear that, like, okay, I feel you. Like, let me help you out. Sometimes. Other times he ain't doing that, but a lot of times he does. This is verse 13. For we will destroy this place, because the cry of them is waxing great before the face of the Lord, and the Lord hath sent us to destroy it. And Lot went out and spake unto his daughter and to his sons-in-laws, which married his daughters, and said, Up, get you out of this place, for the Lord will destroy the city. But he seemed as one that mocked unto his sons-in-law. And when the morning arose, then the angels hastened Lot, saying, Arise, take thy wife and thy 2 daughters, which are here, lest thou be consumed in the iniquity of the city. So he tried to save his son-in-laws, but they took that as like him mocking them. So they just like, whatever, bro. And then the angels was like, okay, well, get your daughters. Forget the son-in-laws. Get your daughters. Let's get up out of here. You know what I'm saying? Let me see. Iniquity, let's not be consumed. And this is verse 16. And while he lingered, the men laid hold upon his hand and upon the hand of his wife and upon the hand of his 2 daughters, the Lord being merciful unto him. And they brought him forth and set him without the city. And it came to pass, when they had brought them forth abroad, that he said, escape for thy life. Look not behind thee, neither stay thou in all the plain. Escape to the mountains, lest thou be consumed. And Lot said unto them, okay, not so, my Lord. Behold, now thy servant hath found grace in thy sight, and thou hast magnified thy mercy, which thou hast showed unto me in saving my life. And I cannot escape to the mountain, lest some evil take me, and I die. Behold now, this city, and I believe it's the angel talking back to him. Behold now, this city is near to flee unto, and it is a little one. Oh, let me escape thither. Is it not a little one? And my soul shall live. And he said unto him, see, I have accepted thee concerning this thing also, that I will not overthrow this city for the which thou hast spoken. Haste thee, escape thither, for I cannot do anything till thou be come thither. Therefore the name of the city was called Zor. The sun was risen upon the earth when Lot entered into Zor. Sodom and Gomorrah are destroyed. Then the Lord rained upon Sodom and Gomorrah brimstone and fire from the Lord out of heaven. And he overthrew those cities and all the plain and all the inhabitants of the cities and that which grew upon the ground. Lot's wife becomes a pillar of salt. This is what happened because she didn't listen. When the angel said, don't look back, she didn't listen to what they warned her. This is verse 26 of Genesis 19, verse 26. But his wife looked back from behind him, and she became a pillar of salt. And Abraham got up early in the morning to the place where he stood before the Lord, and he looked toward Sodom and Gomorrah, and toward all the land of the plain, and beheld, and lo, the smoke of the country was up as the smoke of a furnace. So he looked back, and that whole mug was burning like a Christmas turkey. It was cooking. God wasn't playing. He burnt that whole joint up. And it came to pass when God destroyed the cities of the plain that God remembered Abraham and sent Lot out of the midst of the overthrow when he overthrew the cities in the which Lot dwelt. This is the beginnings of Moab and Ammon, verse 30. And Lot went up out of Zor and dwelt in the mountain, and his 2 daughters with him, for he feared to dwell in Zor, and he dwelt in a cave, he and his 2 daughters. And the firstborn said unto the younger, our father is old, and there is not a man in the earth to come in unto us after the manner of all the earth. So this is where his daughters got on some interest and stuff. They basically both was like, we can't find a man, so we're going to trick our dad into sleeping with us and doing some incest type stuff, which is wild. That's what we talking about this book. Like, everybody be trying to read, watch like Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. Like, read this book. This book is like way crazier than any like TV show you could watch. Like, the stuff these people was getting up to is wild. Like, and that's what he's telling you. Just read this book for real. It's crazy. And the firstborn said unto the younger, our father is old, and there is not a man in the earth to come in unto us after the manner of all the earth. Come, let us make our father drink wine, and we will lie with him, that we may preserve seed of our father. And they made their father drink wine that night, and the firstborn went in and lay with her father, and he perceived not when she lay down, nor when she arose. And it came to pass on the morrow, that the firstborn said unto the younger, behold, I lay yesternight with my father. Let us make him drink wine this night also, and go thou in, and lie with him, that we may preserve seed of our father. And they made their father drink wine that night also, and the younger arose, and lay with him, and he perceived not when she lay down, nor when she arose. Thus were both the daughters of Lot with child by their father. So they both slid in there, got their father drunk on 2 different nights, and both got pregnant by him. Which is crazy. Like, how drunk did they get this man? You know what I'm saying? That is wild. And the firstborn bare a son and called his name Moab. The same is the father of the Moabites unto this day. And the younger, she also bare a son and called his name Ben-Ami. The same is the father of the children of Ammon unto this day, or Ammon. This is Abraham at Gerar, chapter 20. And Abraham journeyed from thence toward the south country, and dwelt between Kadesh and Shur, and sojourned in Gerar. And Abraham said of Sarah his wife, she is my sister. And Abimelech, king of Gerar, sent and took Sarah. Abimelech is reproved. it's basically saying reprimanded by God for taking Sarah. But God came to Abimelech in a dream by night and said to him, Behold, thou art but a dead man for the woman which thou hast taken, for she is a man's wife. So clearly throughout the book, God don't play with adultery. He don't like whenever you try to step in on somebody else's like wife or girlfriend, any day. He don't like that. Like, and you get cursed. Like anytime. But the thing about God is he don't move the same as the devil. So when God curse you, especially if he mess with you, unless you really wicked, he'll tell you. He'll give you a warning like, hey, I'm about to curse you because you about to do something that you gonna get cursed over. You know what I'm saying? Like, but he'll warn you. Like he'll let you know. Beforehand. The devil don't do that. He come out of nowhere and sneak up on you and just hit you with something. So yeah, God, the woman which thou hast taken, for she is a man's wife. But Abimelech had not come near her, and he said, Lord, wilt thou slay also a righteous nation? Because they were living righteously under God, and so it was, he warned them, but he was like, whoa, I ain't even know, so please don't jack me up. And the Lord was like, all right, I ain't gonna mess you up, but you better not do it. You know what I'm saying? Because he knew he was still living righteous in his people. He was leading a righteous people. And then this is verse 5. Said he not unto me, she is my sister. And she herself said, he is my brother. In the integrity of my heart and the innocency of my hands have I done this. So he's basically saying, I ain't even know. Please don't kill me. Now, therefore, restore the man his wife, for he is a prophet. This is God talking back to him. For he is a prophet, and he shall pray for thee, and thou shalt live. And if thou restore her not, know thou that thou shalt surely die, thou and all that are thine. So basically, not only are you going to die, I'm going to make sure your whole bloodline dies, and potentially your whole kingdom for doing this against one of my chosen people. You know what I'm saying? Therefore Abimelech rose early in the morning and called all his servants and told all these things in their ears, and the men were sore afraid. Then Abimelech called Abraham and said unto him, What hast thou done unto us? And what have I offended thee, that thou hast brought on me and on my kingdom a great sin? Thou hast done deeds unto me that ought not to be done. And Abimelech said unto Abraham, What sawest thou that thou hast done this thing? So he's like, why would you do this, bro? Like, we treated you good. Like, we brought you in our house, let you do whatever you need to do. Why you do that to me, bro? What you gonna do about it? So then, you know what I'm saying? Abraham said, because I thought, and he said this before too, this is a recurring thing that happened with Abraham. Abraham said, because I thought surely the fear of God is not in this place, and they will slay me for my wife's sake. So he basically was scared that they was going to see his wife and think she was beautiful. So they was going to kill him if they found out he was married to her. So he basically lied. He was like, that's my sister. But, the whole time God was all in that place and people were still living holy. And then he also says as well, that technically it's not a lie, because he says in verse 12, he says, Yet indeed she is my sister. She is the daughter of my father, but not the daughter of my mother, and she became my wife. And it came to pass, when God caused me to wander from my father's house, that I said unto her, This is thy kindness which thou shalt shew unto me. At every place whither we shall come, say of me, He is my brother. Abimelech restored Sarah. And Abimelech took sheep and oxen and men servants and women servants and gave them unto Abraham, and restored him Sarah his wife. And Abimelech said, Behold, my land is before thee, dwell where it pleaseth thee. And unto Sarah he said, Behold, I have given thy brother 1,000 pieces of silver. Behold, he is to thee a covering of the eyes unto all that are with thee, and with all other. Thus she was reproved. So basically, he kind of like reprimanded her a little bit, like, hey, bro, like, I just hooked your husband up, and on top of that, like, you know what I'm saying, like, he's the covering for you, just like God said. He's like, this is your covering, so like, bro, like, don't be trying to do no slick stuff, you know what I'm saying, like, no slick stuff, he's your covering, you know what I'm saying. For the Lord had fast closed up all the wounds of the house of Abimelech because of Sarah, Abraham's wife. So literally, until he made this right and had Abraham pray over him, God made it so all the women in his family couldn't have babies. He basically said everybody in your family line can't have children. So now Isaac's born. This is a very important turning in the story. Chapter 21. And the Lord visited Sarah as he had said, and the Lord did unto Sarah as he had spoken. For Sarah conceived and bare Abraham a son in his old age. Well, this is technically his second son. At the set time in which God had spoken to him. And Abraham called the name of his son that was born unto him, whom Sarah bare to him, Isaac. And Abraham, remember that name. And Abraham circumcised his son Isaac before being 8 days old, as God had commanded him. And Abraham was 100 years old when his son Isaac was born unto him. That's crazy. And Sarah said, God have made me to laugh, so that all that hear will laugh with me. And she said, who would have said unto Abraham that Sarah should have given children suck? For I have borne him a son in his old age. And the child grew and was weaned. And Abraham made a great feast the same day that Isaac was weaned. So I think that what that means is that she was like, I'm old. I can't breastfeed this kid. So who trying to help me out or something like that? I think that's what that means. Now we got Hagar and Ishmael are expelled. And Sarah saw the son of Hagar the Egyptian, which remember her from the last episode, if you don't know what that is, which she had born unto Abraham mocking. Wherefore she said unto Abraham, cast out this bondwoman and her son, for the son of this bondwoman shall not be heir with my son, even Isaac. She basically said, hey, this is the firstborn, but this ain't my kid. This ain't from our bloodline. Get this dude out of here. Get on out of here. And it's jacked up, but I feel it. You know what I'm saying? She basically like, nah, this is the real heir of the throne of Abraham. This the real, Isaac's the real heir. You know what I'm saying? Like, and the thing was very grievous. The thing was very grievous in Abraham's sight because of his son. And God said unto Abraham, let it not be grievous in thy sight because of the lad, and because of thy bondwoman. And all that Sarah hath said unto thee, hearken unto her voice, for in Isaac shall thy seed be called. So God gave him special permission, like, okay, follow what your wife talking about, and get him out of here, but, be respectful and do the right thing. Be righteous with how you deal with them. And also the son of the bondwoman will I make a nation, because he is thy seed. See, so he was like, I'm going to hook up your other kid too. Don't even worry. And Abraham rose up early in the morning and took bread and a bottle of water and gave it unto Hagar, putting it on her shoulder, and the child, and sent her away. And she departed and wandered in the wilderness of Beersheba. This is Genesis 22, verse 15. Genesis 21, verse 15. Sorry. And the water was spent in the bottle, and she cast the child under one of the shrubs. And she went and sat down over against him a good way off, as it were a bow shot. For she said, let me not see the death of the child. And she sat over against him and lifted up her voice and wept. And God heard the voice of the lad, and the angel of God called out to Hagar out of heaven, and said unto her, what aileth thee, Hagar? Fear not, for God hath heard the voice of the lad where he is. Arise, lift up the lad, and hold him in thy hand, for I will make him a great nation. And God opened her eyes, and she saw a well of water, and she went and filled the bottle with water, and gave the lad drink. And God was with the lad, and he grew and dwelt in the wilderness, and became an archer. And he dwelt in the wilderness of Paran, and his mother took him a wife out of the land of Egypt. So basically, Ishmael got a wife up out of Egypt after some time. So now this is Abimelech and Abraham make a covenant. This is chapter 21, verse 22. And it came to pass at that time that Abimelech and Pichol, I think that's how you say it, the chief captain of his host, spake unto Abraham, saying, God is with thee in all that thou doest. Now therefore swear unto me here by God that thou wilt not deal falsely with me, nor with my son, nor with my son's son, but according to the kindness that I have done unto thee, thou shalt do unto me, and to the land wherein thou hast sojourned. And Abraham said, I will swear. And Abraham removed Abimelech because of a well of water, or reproved Abimelech because of a well of water, which Abimelech's servants had violently taken away. And Abimelech said, I wot not who have done this thing, neither didst thou tell me, neither yet heard I of it, but today. So he's like, bro, I don't know who did that. I didn't command that. He's like, and if I did, if that wasn't happening, I wouldn't even be up in that mode. And Abraham set 7 ewe lambs of the flock by themselves. And Abimelech said unto Abraham, What mean these 7 ewe lambs which thou hast set by themselves? And he said, For these 7 ewe lambs shalt thou take of my hand, that they may be a witness unto me that I have digged this well. Wherefore he called that place Beersheba, because there they swear both of them. Thus they made a covenant at Beersheba, that Abimelech rose up, and Pichol, the chief captain of his host, and they returned into the land of the Philistines. And Abraham planted a grove in Beersheba, and called there on the name of the Lord, the everlasting God. And Abraham sojourned in the Philistines' land many days. So now we're on chapter 22, which is God asked Abraham to sacrifice his son. This is also a very, very important lesson. So pay attention to this part right here. Real important. And I'm going to break, and it's kind of crazy. One of my good friends actually broke it down to me in a way I didn't even think about. So I'm going to share that with you guys once we get to that part. It kind of blew my mind when I was thinking about it. God asked Abraham to sacrifice his son. And it came to pass after these things that God did tempt Abraham, and said unto him, Abraham, and he said, Behold, here I am. And he said, Take now thy son, thine only son Isaac, whom thou lovest, and get thee into the land of Moriah, and offer him there for a burnt offering upon one of the mountains which I will tell thee of. And this Abraham gives proof of faith and obedience. And this is a very important part. And Abraham rose up early in the morning and saddled his ass and took 2 of his young men with him and Isaac his son and clave the wood for the burnt offering and rose up and went unto the place of which God had told him. Then on the 3rd day, Abraham lifted up his eyes and saw the place afar off. And Abraham said unto his young men, Abide ye here with the ass, and I and the lad will go yonder and worship and come again to you. And Abraham took the wood of the burnt offering and laid it upon Isaac his son, and he took the fire in his hand and a knife, and they went both of them together. And Isaac spake unto Abraham his father and said, My father. And he said, Here I am, my son. And he said, Behold the fire and the wood. And where is the lamb for a burnt offering? So his son is like, yo, we usually do this with a lamb, with a lamb. And he's sitting there like, it's about to be you. You about to be the lamb. This is verse 9. And they came to the place which God had told him of, and Abraham built an altar there and laid the wood in order and bound Isaac his son and laid him on the altar upon the wood. And Abraham stretched forth his hand and took the knife to begin to slay his son. So he just was like, dang, God telling me to do it. I'm about to just do it. Like, I'm about to just be obedient. Now, this is where the angel stops him. The angel stops Abraham. And the angel of the Lord called unto him out of heaven and said, Abraham, Abraham. And he said, Here I am. And he said, Lay not thine hand upon the lad, neither do thou anything unto him, for now I know that thou fearest God. Seest thou hast not withheld thy son, thine only son, from me. And Abraham lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, behind him a ram caught in a thicket by his horns. And Abraham went and took the ram and offered him up for a burnt offering in the stead of his son. And Abraham called the name of that place Jehovah Jireh, or Jireh, I don't know, I might be butchering that. As it is said to this day, in the mount of the Lord it shall be seen. So that story right there is really important because my friend broke it down to me that God is eternal. He's an ancient being. So like throughout it, each story all kind of talks and foreshadows Jesus. Even though this is like thousands of years, like 1,000-something years before Jesus, it's still like it's foreshadowing Jesus. And that's kind of what happened with God choosing Abraham to then become who would then become the Israelites, because he's basically saying, like, if you're gonna be the one for me to trust and make this covenant with, that's gonna start out, you know what I'm saying, a whole race of people who are gonna be like my chosen people, then what you're gonna have to do first is you're gonna have to prove to me that if I'm about to give my son, my only perfect son that I'm about to make for this purpose, for y'all and for the world, you got to prove to me that you're going to be willing to do that with your son. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of what that whole thing is. Even though he ain't know that was what was happening at the time, that's what was going on, is that God was basically like, I'm about to use you to create this whole, like the Israelites. You're about to become my chosen people, the starter of my chosen people. But first, eventually, I'm going to have to give up my son in the future for y'all. So if I'm going to do that, you need to show me that you're going to give up your son. You know what I'm saying? And as soon as Abraham was about to go through it, he was like, okay, cool. I see you. You know, God was like, I see you eye to eye right now. Boom. Like, you did what I told you to do. You ain't got to give up your son. You know what I'm saying? Your son's important. Don't give him up. You know what I'm saying? But now that I see you about to do that, cool. Now later on when I do that, it'll, you know, like he just wants you to have faith in him, and he wants you to, it's almost like God is like, you got to prove to him what you about. You know what I'm saying? Not everybody can just be, oh, I love God. Like, you know, it ain't like that all the way. It's like you got to really prove yourself to God and prove that you somebody who he worth trusting in and putting his work and his time and effort into. Because he don't treat everybody the same. I know that might hurt people's feelings, but that's the truth. He don't treat everybody the same. And he especially treats wicked people even less than. You know what I'm saying? Like, but it's about, you gotta prove yourself to God. When he call you, you gotta prove yourself. You know? The master and let's see, the servant. Make sure I'm gonna. Okay, I got a little bit ahead of myself. Okay, Abraham is again blessed. This is verse 15, chapter 22. And the angel of the Lord called unto Abraham out of heaven the second time and said, By myself have I sworn, saith the Lord, for because thou hast done this thing and hast not withheld thy son, thine only son, that in blessing I will bless thee, and in multiplying I will multiply thy seed as the stars of the heaven, and as the sand which is upon the seashore. And thy seed shall possess the gate of his enemies. And in thy seed all the nations of the earth be blessed, because thou hast obeyed my voice. That's also really important too, and I'll come back to that. So Abraham returned unto his young men, and they rose up and went together to Beersheba, and Abraham dwelt at Beersheba. So real quick, when he said, in thy seed shall all the nations of the earth be blessed, he's basically saying, because of y'all seed, everybody else who interacts with y'all is going to be blessed, and everybody who, like, even if you have sex with somebody that's outside of your, outside of this, like, by them having sex with you, they're going to be blessed too. You know what I'm saying? Like, the kids y'all have will be blessed. Just like how he had the other son, Ishmael, who was with the Egyptian. But even though he had the baby with the Egyptian, he was like, that's your baby, so I'm about to bless this baby. Now, if you notice, he made sure Hagar was cool and gave her direction, but he didn't say, I'm going to bless Hagar. He said, I'm going to bless Ishmael. You know what I'm saying? Like, he said, your son, I'm going to bless your kid. You know what I'm saying? Because it came from Abraham. Like, he didn't say, I'm going to bless Hagar. He said, I'm going to bless the son. So you got to pay attention to that. He's basically saying each one of these peoples who are come from your lineage, your DNA, or if you help people, they're going to be blessed. I'm going to bless them and protect them. You know what I'm saying? The generations of Nahor to Rebekah. And it came to pass after these things that it was told Abraham, saying, behold, Milcah, or Malcah, she hath also borne children unto thy brother Nahor. Huz, his firstborn, and Buz, his brother, and Kemuel, the father of Aram, and Chezid, and Hazo, and Pildash, and Jidleth, and Bethuel. And Bethuel begat Rebekah. These 8 Malcah did bear to Nahor, Abraham's brother. And his concubine, whose name was Reumah, I'm really bad with these names, Reumah, she bare also Teba, and Gaham, and Thahash, and Macha. This is the age and death of Sarah, chapter 23. I'll make sure I'm keeping an eye on the time. Sorry, guys. Okay, we got some time. We got some time still. You know what I'm saying? I know that this IG likes to kick you off before, so I want to make sure that I'm getting the time in there. This chapter 23, the age and death of Sarah. And Sarah was 127 years old, basically. These were the years of the life of Sarah. And Sarah died in Kirjath Arba, the same as Hebron, in the land of Canaan. And Abraham came to mourn for Sarah and to weep for her. The purchase of Machpelah, where Sarah is buried. I really need to learn how to say these names. And Abraham stood up from before his dead, and spake unto the sons of Heth, saying, I am a stranger and a sojourner with you. Give me a possession of a burying place with you, that I may bury my dead out of my sight. And the children of Heth answered Abraham, saying unto him, Hear us, my lord. Thou art a mighty prince among us. In the choice of our sepulchre, I'm not going to bury thy dead. None of us shall withhold from thee his sepulchre, but that thou mayest bury thy dead. And Abraham stood up and bowed himself to the people of the land, even to the children of Heth. And he communed with them, saying, If it be your mind that I should bury my dead out of my sight, hear me and entreat me for me to Ephron the son of Zohar, that he may give me the cave of Machpelah, which he hath, which is in the end of his field. For as much money as it is worth, he shall give it me for possession of a burying place amongst you. And Ephron dwelt among the children of Heth, and Ephron the Hittite answered Abraham in the audience of the children of Heth, even of all that went in at the gate of his city, saying, Nay, my lord, hear me. The field give I thee, and the cave that is therein I give it thee. In the presence of the sons of my people give I it thee. Bury thy dead. So he basically said, I'm going to one-up you, my guy. I ain't going to just give you the cave. I'm going to give you the whole field attached to the cave because you blessed. You know what I'm saying? Make sure your dad is buried properly. This is verse 12. And Abraham bowed down himself before the people of the land. And he spake unto Ephron in the audience of the people of the land, saying, But if thou wilt give it, I pray thee, hear me, I will give thee money for the field, take it of me, and I will bury my dead there. So he's like, hey, man, I appreciate that, but I'll give you some money, man. I'm not about to do this unfair. We're going to make sure you get paid, my guy. And my Lord, hearken unto me. The land is worth 400 shekels of silver. What is that betwixt me and thee? Bury therefore thy dead. They just going back and forth now at this point. He's like, nah, bro, it ain't really worth that much. Just take it. And Abraham hearkened unto Ephron. And Abraham weighed to Ephron the silver, which he had named in the audience of the sons of Heth, 400 shekels of silver, current money with the merchants. So he's like, bro, okay, 400, I'm going to pay whatever that is. And the field of Ephron, which was in Machpelah, which was before Mamre, the field, and the cave which was therein, and all the trees that were in the field, that were in all the borders round about, were made sure unto Abraham for possession in the presence of the children of Heth, before all that went in at the gate of his city. And after this, Abraham buried Sarah his wife in the cave of the field of Machpelah before Mamre, the same as Hebron in the land of Canaan. And the field and the cave that is therein were made sure unto Abraham for possession of a burying place by the sons of Heth. Abraham's servant swears an oath. This is chapter 24. And Abraham was old and well stricken in age, and the Lord had blessed Abraham in all things. And Abraham said unto his eldest servant of his house that ruled over all that he had, Put, I pray thee, thy hand under my thigh, and I will make thee swear by the Lord, that the God of heaven and the God of the earth, that thou shalt not take a wife unto my son of the daughters of the Canaanites, among whom I dwell. He said, bro, don't hook my son up with no Canaanites. But thou shalt go into my country and to my kindred, and take a wife unto my son Isaac. And the servant said unto him, Peradventure the woman will not be willing to follow me unto this land. Must I needs bring thy son again unto the land from whence thou camest? And Abraham said unto him, Beware that thou bring not my son thither again. The Lord God of heaven, which took me from my father's house and from the land of my kindred, and which spake unto me, and that sware unto me, saying, Unto thy seed will I give this land, he shall send his angel before thee, and thou shalt take a wife unto my son from thence. And if the woman will not be willing to follow thee, then thou shalt be clear from this my oath, only bring not my son thither again. And the servant put his hand under the thigh of Abraham his master, and sware to him concerning that matter. This is the servant's journey. This is the servant trying to find a wife for Isaac. And the servant took 10 camels of the camels of his master, and departed. For all the goods of his master were in his hand. And he arose and went to Mesopotamia, unto the city of Nahor. And he made his camels to kneel down without the city by a well of water at the time of the evening, even the time that women go out to draw water. Verse 12. And he said, O Lord, God of my master Abraham, I pray thee, send me good speed this day, and then shew kindness unto my master Abraham. Behold, I stand here by the well of water, and the daughters of the men of the city come out to draw water. And let it come to pass that the damsel to whom I shall say, Let down thy pitcher, I pray thee, that I may drink. And she shall say, Drink, and I will give thy camels drink also. Let the same be she that thou hast appointed for thy servant Isaac. And thereby shall I know that thou hast showed kindness unto my master. So basically, he's talking to God right now. God like, I got you, bro. He's like, I got you. Just go to the thing, and if she's talking to you, she the right one. Basically. So now we're on verse 15. And it came to pass before he had done speaking that, behold, Rebekah came out, who was born to Bethuel, son of Milcah, the wife of Nahor, Abraham's brother, with her pitcher upon her shoulder. And the damsel was very fair to look upon, a virgin, neither had any man known her. And she went down to the well and filled her pitcher and came up. And the servant ran to meet her and said, Let me, I pray thee, drink a little water of thy pitcher. And she said, Drink, my lord. And she hasted and let down her pitcher upon her hand and gave him drink. And when she had done giving him drink, she said, I will draw water for thy camels also, until they have done drinking. And she hasted and emptied her pitcher into the trough, and ran again unto the well to draw water, and drew for all his camels. So she was very righteous in her spirit. She immediately was like, I got you. She didn't know who this man was. She still helped him out. Didn't know who he was. Very righteous spirited. You know what I'm saying? She just knew what the right thing to do was, and she just was like, I'm going to do the right thing. You know. Let me water that pitcher. Let me see. Let me drink it. Camels also. Okay, I think we're on verse 21. And the man wondering at her held his peace, to wit whether the Lord had made his journey prosperous or not. And it came to pass, as the camels had done drinking, that the man took a golden earring of half a shekel weight, and 2 bracelets for her hands of 10 shekels weight of gold, and said, Whose daughter art thou? Tell me, I pray thee, is there room in thy father's house for us to lodge in? And she says, so as soon as he found out, he was like, let me meet your dad. He's like, let me meet your dad and figure this out so I can get the blessing to bring you to my master. And she said unto him, I am the daughter of Bethuel, the son of Milcah, which she bare unto Nahor. She said, moreover unto him, we have both straw and provender enough, and room to lodge in. And the man bowed down his head and worshipped the Lord. And he said, blessed be the Lord God of my master Abraham, who hath not left destitute my master of his mercy and his truth. I being in the way, the Lord led me to the house of my master's brethren. And the damsel ran and told them of her mother's house these things. So he's like, wow, Lord, you fired. You just now led me straight to my master's brother's house without me even realizing. That's crazy. And Rebecca had a brother, and his name was Laban, which I figured, I feel like this guy, like, from what I've learned about him, he's pretty sinister. He just got like a wicked energy to him, Laban. And Laban ran out unto the well. And it came to pass when he saw the earring and bracelets upon his sister's hands, and when he heard the words of Rebekah his sister, saying, Thus spake the man unto me, that he came unto the man, and behold, he stood by the camels at the well. And he said, Come in, thou blessed of the Lord. Wherefore standest thou without? For I have prepared the house and room for the camels. And the man came into the house, and he girded his camels, and gave straw and provender for the camels, and water to wash his feet, and the men's feet that were with him. And there was set meat before him to eat, but he said, I will not eat until I have told mine errand. And he said, Speak on. So he basically was like, bro, until we get this figured out, I'm not eating no food. Very dedicated. And he said, I am Abraham's servant, and the Lord hath blessed my master greatly, and he is become great. And he have given him flocks and herds and silver and gold and men servants and maid servants and camels and asses. And Sarah, my master's wife, bare a son to my master when she was old, and unto him hath he given all that he hath. And my master made me swear, saying, Thou shalt not take a wife to my son of the daughters of the Canaanites, in whose land I dwell. But thou shalt go unto my father's house and to my kindred, and take a wife unto my son. And I said unto my masters, Peradventure the woman will not follow me. And he said unto me, The Lord before whom I walk will send his angel with thee, and prosper thy way, and thou shalt take a wife for my son of my kindred and of my father's house. Then shalt thou be clear from this my oath. When thou comest to my kindred, and if they give not thee one, thou shalt be clear from my oath. And I came in this day unto the well, and said, O Lord God of my master Abraham, if now thou do prosper my way which I go, behold, I stand by the well of water. And it shall come to pass that when the virgin cometh forth to draw water, and I say to her, Give me, I pray thee, a little water of thy pitcher to drink, and she say to me, Both drink thou, and I will also draw for thy camels. Let the same be the woman whom the Lord hath appointed out for my master's son. And behold, and before I had done speaking in my heart, behold, Rebekah came forth with her pitcher on her shoulder, and she went down into the well and drew water. And I said unto her, Let me drink, I pray thee. And he made haste and let down her pitcher from her shoulder, and said, Drink, and I will give thy camels drink also. So I drank, and she made the camels drink also. And I asked her and said, Whose daughter art thou? And she said, The daughter of Bethuel, Nahor's son, whom Milcah bare unto him. And I put the earrings upon her face and the bracelets upon her hands, and I bowed down my head and worshipped the Lord, and blessed the Lord God of my master Abraham, which had led me in the right way to take my master's brother's daughter unto his son. So that's crazy. And now, if you would, that's about that efficiency, the efficiency of God. God is super efficient. We'll talk more about that later. And now, if you would deal kindly and truly with my master, tell me. And if not, tell me that I may turn to the right hand or to the left. Then Laban and Bethuel answered and said, The thing proceeded from the Lord. We cannot speak unto thee bad or good. Behold, Rebekah is before thee. Take her and go, and let her be thy master's son's wife, as the Lord hath spoken. And it came to pass that when Abraham's servant heard their words, he worshipped the Lord, bowing himself to the earth. And the servant brought forth jewels of silver and jewels of gold and raiment, and gave them to Rebekah. He gave also to her brother and to her mother precious things. And they did eat and drink, he and the men that were with him, and tarried all night. And they rose up in the morning, and he said, Send me away unto my master. This is chapter 24, verse 55. And her brother and her mother said, Let the damsel abide with us a few days at the leason. After that she shall go. And he said unto him, Hinder me not, seeing the Lord hath prospered my way. Send me away that I may go to my master. And they said, We will call the damsel and inquire at her mouth. And they called Rebekah and said unto her, Wilt thou go with this man? And she said, I will go. She was like, Hey, dang, this dude done dropped some gold on me. Psh, I'm pulling up. What's popping? You know what I'm saying? And they sent away Rebekah, their sister, and her nurse, and Abraham's servant, and his men. And they blessed Rebekah and said unto her, Thou art our sister. Be thou the mother of thousands of millions, and let thy seed possess the gate of those which hate them. And Rebekah arose, and her damsels, and they rode upon the camels, and followed the man. And the servant took Rebekah, and went his way. Now, this is going to be the meeting of Isaac and Rebekah. And then from there, I think that we're going to probably wrap it up. Or matter of fact, we'll wrap it up a little bit after 25, because we're getting close to the end. So the meeting of Isaac and Rebekah, this is chapter 24, verse 62. And Isaac came from the way of the well Lahairoi, where he dwelt in the south country. And Isaac came out to meditate in the field at the eventide, and he lifted up his eyes and saw, and behold, the camels were coming. And Rebekah lifted up her eyes, and when she saw Isaac, she lighted off the camel. For she had said unto the servant, What man is this that walketh in the field to meet us? And the servant had said, It is my master. Therefore she took a veil and covered herself. Notice this recurring thing of women covering themselves too. Verse 66. And the servant told Isaac all things that he had done. And Isaac brought her into his mother Sarah's tent, and took Rebekah, and she became his wife, and he loved her. And Isaac was comforted after his mother's death. So she passed away, and basically Rebekah pulled up and helped him work through, the feelings of Sarah passing away. So now we're at chapter 25. This will be the last little chunk of it before we drop it off, because I want to start the next episode about Esau and Jacob. And I think that'll be a perfect stopping place. So chapter 25, verse 1. Then again, Abraham took a wife, and her name was Keturah. And she bare him Zimran, and Jokshan, and Medan, and Midian, and Ishbak, and Shua. And Jokshan begat Shiva and Dedan, and the sons of Dedan were Ashurim, and Letushim, and Lumim. And the sons of Midian, Ephath, and Epher, and Hanok, and Abida, and Elda. All these were the children of Keturah. And Abraham gave all that he had unto Isaac. But unto the sons of the concubines which Abraham had, Abraham gave gifts, and sent them away from Isaac his son, while he yet lived eastward onto the east country. So he had a lot of extra children, but since they weren't from his actual wife that was within the covenant of God, he still made sure they were good, but he didn't treat them the same as his actual heir that came from his wife. So, you know what I'm saying? East country. And now we're in verse 7. And these are the days of the years of Abraham's life which he lived, 160 years. So basically he lived to be 135. Then Abraham gave up the ghost and died in a good old age, and an old man and full of years, and was gathered to his people. So his people surrounded him. He died with lots of love, and family surrounded him. And his sons Isaac and Ishmael buried him in the cave of Machpelah, in the field of Ephron, the son of Zohar the Hittite, which is before Mamre. The field which Abraham purchased of the sons of Heth, there was Abraham buried, and Sarah his wife. And it came to pass after the death of Abraham that God blessed his son Isaac, and Isaac dwelt by the well Lahairoi. And now these are the generations of Ishmael, Abraham's son, whom Hagar the Egyptian, Sarah's handmaiden, bare unto Abraham. And these are the names of the sons of Ishmael, by their names according to their generations: the firstborn of Ishmael, Nebajoth, and Kedar, and Abdeel, and Mibsam, and Mishma, and Duma, and Massa, and Hadar, and Tema, Jetur, Naphish, and Kedama. These are the sons of Ishmael, and these are their names, by their towns and by their castles, 12 princes according to their nations. And these are the years of the life of Ishmael, 137 years. And he gave up the ghost, and died, and was gathered unto his people. And they dwelt from Havilah unto Shur, that is before Egypt, as thou goest toward Assyria. And he died in the presence of all his brethren. So this, not everybody knows this or sees this, but for some reason when I know this, it felt to me like they're talking about this bloodline lineage sounds like the origins of the Arabs and middle people who live in the Middle East, like in Syria and stuff like that. It sounds like where they came from, the 12 prince families of this Ishmael, which technically comes from Egypt, so that's crazy. Presence of his brother. So yeah, okay, boom. So we are going to leave this here for this time. We are currently at Genesis chapter 25, verse 19. That's where we're going to pick it up next time. Rebekah gives birth to Esau and Jacob, because this next episode we're going to be starting to talk about Esau and Jacob. And That's kind of like, you know, the perfect little lineage of where it goes. And from Esau and Jacob, you kind of see the creation of the two major powers of the world right now. Well, yeah, spiritual powers, which I believe are like Rome and Israel. So you're going to see those creations, and you'll see God talking about what's to come, and kind of letting people know, even though they might not have known what was happening. So, yeah, I'll see you guys next time, and thank you guys so much for taking this time. This has been Malik or Kale, and yeah, I hope to see you guys next time. I'm going to make sure that this video is going to be up on YouTube pretty soon. You can hit the link in my bio for that. If you need any spiritual coaching or life services, you know where to look. You know what I'm saying? Make sure you subscribe to the channel, the YouTube channel, because I will be dropping more videos on there. I got a car talk video coming out pretty soon. Just like a spiritual, casual conversation of me being just real about God. So if you guys want stuff like that, you know where to find it. Link in my bio. Make sure you subscribe to there, and also subscribe over here at CALLONKALE. That's going to be on here and on Facebook. So, you know what I'm saying, share it with your friends. If you guys want to learn about the Bible and other cool stuff, I'm just trying to be up here uplifting people. So, you know, like always, I thank you guys so much for taking the time out of your day to join me for this. And I'll see you guys next week. And I hope you guys are blessed, and I hope God is smiling on you and is bringing blessings into your life. So you guys have a great one. And that's going to be it. Goodbye.